Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode on the Let's Talk Wellness with Shal podcast. The vision of this podcast is to empower you with knowledge on holistic wellness, where I share some of my learnings and journey, and I also talk to global practitioners around the globe. Today, I'm excited to have Carolyn here, and it's a very special topic because it's a little different. I know our previous topics have been focused more around yoga, meditation, nutrition, but today we're actually going to talk about movement and how that heals the body and mind. So I'm very delighted to welcome Carolyn. She is a Buti instructor, a passionate advocate for healing through movement. Carolyn's wellness journey began with physical therapy through yoga after a time when she couldn't even lift her arms over her head. That experience transformed into a passion for helping others rediscover strength, confidence, and joy through movement. For over 6 years, she's been empowering people to celebrate their bodies, not punish them, through the unique practice of Buti. So, Carolyn, welcome to Let's Talk Wellness with Shal, and I'm super excited to have you here. And of course, I have to add that I loved your class. So, with that, let's just hear a bit from you. A quick introduction about yourself, and then we'll just kind of go into some of the questions I have.
So thank you. I am so excited to be here, and I am so pleased to hear that you liked the class that I was able to offer in Shoto. Yes, my name is Carolyn. I live in Helena, Montana, and my wellness journey has been just that, a journey up and down and all over the place. And it did start with me many years ago. I was a bartender and I am diagnosed hypermobile. So before I knew what that meant, my tagline was, "I can't run fast and I can't catch a ball, but I can do the splits on command." And I never knew that that was abnormal. I was in gymnastics as a girl and was never really into the sports scene in high school or college. And when I was bartending for lots and lots of years, just the repetitive motion of this and not doing that well, my shoulders just kind of fell apart. And I was a young mom who couldn't pick up my own child. I couldn't do my own hair. Went to physical therapy and they told me that I had to start lifting weights. And I was like, okay, well, how am I supposed to lift weights if I can't lift my arms? That doesn't make any sense to me. So, started yoga, very slow moving, and between the down dogs and the plank postures, I was able to build the strength in my shoulders that then I could start lifting weights and found more freedom in movement and was able to build my strength back and uh, was fully empowered by the fact that I could do that myself and I didn't need somebody else to tell me, go here and do this and do that. And I think it was actually after I had another child and couldn't put that baby into the daycare at the gym, and then also was finding myself as a busy young mom with less time to spend at the gym. No, not so much time for an hour of
Yeah.
prep and an hour of lifting and an hour of cool down. It was like, oh my gosh, I have to I have to put all of this together and maximize my time. And I think honestly, it was one of those things that Facebook recommended to me and said, here, you should try this. I was very intrigued and started at home practice of Buti. And when I started, honestly, I couldn't last for 10 minutes in my living room, and built up and then found that there was a live class in my town. And my friend and I said, oh, we should go try this together. It'll be so fun. And then she tried to chicken out. And I was like, absolutely not. We are doing this. And then the day before I tried to chicken out, and she was like, you said we have to go together, and went. And it was all great from there. Fell in love with that particular kind of movement because it felt freeing and it felt empowering and it felt fantastic in my body all at the same time. Challenging for sure, but exciting nonetheless. Here we are.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I'll get into a little more double click and we'll talk a bit more. But I think in that journey, because again, my first question really was where you said you're not able to lift your arms over your head. And then can you take us back to that chapter of how this all started, right? Which I know you just kind of walked through us, with that detail. I'm also wondering where in that point did that path to healing begin? I guess I'm just a little curious, what was that trigger, or how did that, I guess, just change from all the pain and where you started to suddenly like movement? And we'll get a little bit to what is Buti, because obviously to the audience, I think that will also help. But before that, I'm just curious, like, was there a path to healing, and what was that moment?
I think part of that path, I don't know that there was necessarily a moment.
Okay.
I think there was a lot of little pieces of empowerment within the movement practice that like, oh, all of a sudden I can do something different. And wow, that feels really good. I want to keep experiencing that. Now, all of a sudden I can lift my daughter. Now, all of a sudden I can put the plates up in the bin overhead. And those little pieces, I think, on the journey themselves were empowering enough that it was like, I want to keep going. I want to figure out what else I can do. I want to try something new in my body and see, like, I saw something on Instagram. Can I do that too? And those little pieces along the way were just continuing down that road of, yeah, I can. And I like the way that feels. I like being able to do something new. I like being able to feel stronger than I was able to before. Like the flexibility piece was never a huge portion of it because I have been able to bend my body in silly ways for most of my life without knowing that that was abnormal. So I think for me, it was the pieces of the healing that felt whole, like, oh, I feel whole. I can do something new, and that feels fantastic. I want to continue to explore that.
Awesome. Okay. And then again, so going back to the booty question.
Mhm.
So I think for the audience, maybe you can just share a bit about what is booty, and like how is this different from just traditional yoga or other, fitness classes. I'm sure there's a lot out there in the market, but yeah, so I would love for you to just share a bit about what is this booty movement and exercise that you've been doing.
So yes, thank you. So Buti is spelled Buti, and it's an Indian word which means the healing that comes from within or something that has been hidden inside to help us. And so it's part of it. There's a distinct arc of class. We always start seated or kneeling, and then it gets bigger and bigger, and then there's like the peak where it's the biggest, loudest, most heavy hitting song that is that's when people are like, "Oh my gosh, is this ever going to be over?" Not that, just the intensity of it, and then it kind of starts to come down and we do some abs and things like that. So the difference in my opinion is that it is an for me, it feels like it's everything. It's cardio, it's strength, it's flexibility, but it's also like mind, body, and soul. Classes are never pre-planned. I make a playlist and I feel the energy in the room. And if classes are small, I can say, is there anything that anybody wants to work on? Or are there injuries that we should avoid? But if the class is just big and full of energy, then I just go with it. And it's exciting and it's wild and it's fun. And some of the aspects of class that make it a little different is that we shake. And so if you're familiar with like the vibrational shake plate, it's kind of like that, moving your weight rapidly from outside blade of the foot to outside blade of the foot in one position where your feet are outside of your mat, fully on the floor, and you're shaking and your whole body wiggles and jiggles. And that's what we're supposed to do. That a lot of times I'll describe it like I live in Montana, so we have a lot of wildlife, we have a lot of livestock. If you smack a horse on its butt, its whole body kind of goes like this. And a lot of people will say that is just the release of the energy that happens. And so it doesn't get stuck inside of your body. So, depending on how scientific and deep you want to go into that, your fascia is the connective tissue within your body. And I have heard it described like a camera. So if something happens, it takes like a snapshot and it will kind of live inside of you. And if you don't let that go, if you don't release that, it can start to cause harder things. I was listening to a couple of your other episodes on your podcast where people talk about trauma and grief and things that happen in childhood coming out later in life as chronic illness. And so stuff like that, that we can hold on to, that can get stuck inside of us, that we are not necessarily taught to let go of. That whole idea of don't cry, don't express your emotions, specifically if you're a woman, sit still, look pretty. Anger isn't something that you are taught to deal with, or some of those more what are qualified as negative emotions that we never get to explore or are taught are bad. So then we just hold on to them and we never know what to do with them. And we turn 40 and we're like, holy crap, I have all this inside of me and I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. I found in my journey that Buti was a really safe place to express some of those things. So we shake to move some of that around, we stomp, we slap the mat to express and release in a place that feels comfortable. One of the other things that we do that might be a little different is that we spiral. And so that is to engage the core in a different kind of a way. It is either like through the chest or through the hips. And some people will say that it looks a certain way. It might look sexy or it might look seductive. And if that is your experience of the class, fine, absolutely have at it. But it's not that way on purpose. It is to explore our bodies in a different kind of a way, to take power over our bodies in a different kind of a way. I think a lot of times we lose power, whether we're giving that freely away to someone else or it's taken from us. For me, Buti is a way to really experience that in myself and in my body again.
Okay. No, that's amazing because I know I experienced it. So I could feel the energy. I could feel like, wow, I've never done something like this before. And yeah, and I love that statement from you, where again, women, and I guess I can talk to this just from a cultural background as well, where traditionally women just hold on to stuff because, you're just told to just move on with life and it's okay. And you're supposed to be the superstar and you can do it all. And you never get to really vent or share, right? It's like, oh, you can do it. And people just keep going until they hit that point. Of course, today we use words like burnout, exhaustion, all of that, right? But like, yeah, I mean, those days women did it. Yeah, there were just no terms associated and nobody talked about it.
Right.
But they all went through that, right? And so, I think movement definitely is another wonderful way to just release some of that out of your body, right? Of course, in addition to talking to therapists and doing all of that. But absolutely, I think I loved I loved the movement part because I experienced that. So thank you. Thanks for sharing. So my other question is many people think of exercise, as something that they have to do. So you often describe as movement as a celebration, right? Instead of just like a punishment. So what is that shift in the mindset that's kind of needed?
I think honestly it's an everyday thing. I still will catch myself going, "Oh, Carolyn, you have to go lift or move or walk or whatever it is." So for me, I think it is something that is a reminder every day. And there are seasons where I do better with that mindset and seasons where I struggle more. Sometimes that goes up and down with how I'm feeling about my body or what's happening with my hormones or inside of myself. But I really I think I was raised in the generation where I would see women or see people on TV like lifting weights or going for a walk and going, this is for the pizza or this is for the cake or whatever. And I think if that is your mindset, first of all, you're never going to have longevity in that because the punishment aspect, nobody wants to go and move their body if they're considering it punishment, whatever it is. If even if you find something that you're like, well, I guess I don't hate this as much as this other thing that I used to do, there's no long-term movement that you can do if it is from a form of punishment. So I think finding something that does feel like a celebration, that feels like I like to go, and for me, it's easy to pick on running because I am so not a runner. I have tried it in I've done intervals, I've done inside, I've done outside. I have tried it in lots of different ways and that is not my jam. And that is fine because I have other things in which I do really, really love the movement. And so if you've tried Buti and you're like, ugh, not my thing, totally fine. Just find maybe running is your jam. And that is the thing where you find joy and the celebration of that. I think whatever it is, find your thing. Keep trying until you find your thing that feels like celebration, that feels like, oh my gosh. And not that every day is going to be like, I can't wait to go put on my running clothes or booty clothes and go do it. It's not going to be that every single day. And so that's where I think finding something that more often than not feels like a celebration of your movement and your joy and the way that your body gets to work. I think there is a bit of a mindset shift in that because I think it's easy to go into negative of like, well, I can't run that fast, or I can't do the splits, or I can't catch that ball, or da da. And it's really easy to shift into that negative. But if we can reframe and go, yeah, but I can. So, okay, so I can't run 10 miles. All right, but I can run five. No, I
Yeah.
can't do an hour booty class, but I can surely do 20 minutes. Okay, I can't lift 185 pounds, but I can surely lift 50. Focusing on what we can do. And then, is that something that I want to explore doing more of? Okay, well, then I'm probably going to have to push a little harder and try a little more. And then getting those successes feels like that's when you do celebrate, like full on, you celebrate. You call your best friend and you say, guess what I did today? Or you have that workout buddy, like when I went to my first live booty class, my best friend and I had to go together. I think trying something new can be really scary and intimidating. So having somebody that you can do that with makes it all the better. And then having someone to celebrate with is joyful.
No, I love that because I was just seeing that somewhere yesterday, which is like bring a friend. So it just kind of just motivates you also, right? I mean, just to go try something. And of course, we all try different things, and it's not like we're awesome at everything. And that's just human, and you can never be. So, but to your point though, you still try because you don't know until you ever try. I mean, I've tried a lot of things. I know I've done Pilates, I've done yoga, like I mean, of course, now I would say I'm hooked to like strength training again, also because of all the research, etc.
Yes.
But I've been actually enjoying it. I mean, it's hard. Yeah, do I love it when I go there and my trainer's like, "Oh, come on, you can do 70 or 80." And I'm like, "Oh my God, no." And he's like, "No, you can." And guess what? That same negative kind of like spiraling stuff that I told myself like 6 months ago, that, oh, no way I can go beyond 30. Like actually yesterday I did 75 and I was just like, whoa. I was surprised with my own body, right? So that's what happens. I feel like a lot of it is here. So
Yes.
sometimes we just need to learn to just let that just be and just
Yep.
do it. So I love it. No, thank you. Thanks for sharing. So I guess my next question is, you've been teaching for over 6 years. So what transformations have you kind of seen your students beyond just, of course, I'm sure there's physical strength, but
Mhm.
beyond that, like what else have you seen that you would like to share with the audience?
I love seeing women blossom. And I say women because more often than not, that is who I have in my class. I have males from time to time, but primarily this is a women-based movement that I see in with my eyes. That's who I have. But the confidence that is built with consistent practice is my favorite thing to see. As you witnessed, I usually do booty in a sports bra and little shorts. And part of that is for that seeing my body move, wiggle, jiggle, shake, teaching my daughters that normal bodies do all of those things. And that is totally fine. But so every now and again, if I've had a woman in class for a while who comes in full pants and a long sleeve shirt or something like that, to see her show up in shorts and maybe she's still a little shy and then come up to me after class and say, you're right, it feels totally different in my body to be able to shake in shorts, or in the middle of class for a woman to rip her shirt off and be comfortable enough, feel safe enough in the space that I've created to show a little more of herself, whether that be her skin or whether that be letting some tears leak out of her eyes and down her face in this space, those always get me excited, because it's really hard to be seen, and in all of those different kinds of ways, physical, emotional, it's hard to let yourself be witnessed. And so those
Yep.
ones are incredible. I mean, the physical ones that we've talked about, moms
Cool.
who can say, I can go on the trampoline with my kiddos and not have to worry about leaking that, because that, yes, that's a physical thing, but that's also a lifestyle thing. They're getting time with their children in ways that they haven't been able to experience before. And that feels really, really awesome. There was one, I did have a retreat one time where a woman came, and she, towards the end of the retreat, shared that she had had a really challenging year. She had considered suicide, and she shared with us, we were doing a glow, which is like black lights, paint your body up, very powerful, very moving. And she was able to look herself in the mirror. She would, prior to that, she had spent a lot of time in classes with her eyes closed or looking down at her mat. And there was a song or a moment in that particular class where she was able to look up and catch her own eye in the mirror and felt something shift inside of her. And she shared that with us at the end. And that still gets me in my feels, because there is something powerful in these classes and in moving and in making a choice to allow yourself to be seen or to see yourself in a way that you've never seen yourself before. But I do think that it's a choice. It's not something that's just going to happen. Yeah,
That's powerful. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love that because I feel like I was just reading a research study recently where, after COVID, especially like with work and in the corporate world, right, where we're talking about communications. I mean, everything kind of shifted. Obviously, we went virtual, a lot of that happened. But I was reading this recent study where, what they were saying was words, when you say something in communication, is only like 10% of what you're trying to say. But so much of it is physiological, like the presence when you're there in person, the energy, the people you feel around you when you're saying something that goes and registers into your head very differently and a lot deeply than what we're trying to do virtually. I mean, of course, it's great because that's what we had to do when we had to do it, right? And if you don't have a choice, that's okay. That's better than doing nothing, to your point. So
yes,
that's still a step. But to your point, again, when people in your class like actually felt it, that's where I feel like the whole energy and that feeling of just being there in that moment, in presence of somebody telling you and having to experience your own body. I think that's just so powerful. It's very different.
I
You can
agree.
never put that in words, I think, is really how to say that. But no, thank you. Thanks for sharing. Wow. All right. So from there, I'm gonna kind of take a little and I think you touched a bit on this. So many women struggle with body image, self-criticism. So what advice would you give to somebody who feels so disconnected, and just frustrated with their body?
It's a hard one,
Yep. Yep.
because I think a lot of that falls into mindset as well. And so I would say to someone who feels disconnected with their body, reconnect, in whatever way that looks like for you. Disconnect from something else. A lot of times that's phone. A lot of times that's social media. And I'm not saying delete everything or throw your phone in the river. That's not real life, right? Like, it's just small steps can make big changes. So if there are accounts that you follow on Instagram that every time you see it, it makes you feel like trash, stop following that person. Follow things that resonate with your heart, that make you feel good. And then work on reconnecting with your body. A lot of times, if I'm feeling, I can notice my breath gets short or I get that feeling in my stomach, I will put one hand on my heart and one hand on my belly and take 3 breaths and try to reconnect and say, okay, what are we worried about? What are you trying to tell me? What is happening inside of me? Those are short-term things, of course. The long-term things I think are to work on that mindset. Why why do I feel this way about my body? Is it because of something from my youth that I was told? And can I work on untangling that belief around the way that I look or the way that I feel? Can I work on recognizing, noticing, first of all, and then recognizing that actually isn't mine? That was something that was told to me. That was something that I picked up along the way. And I am making a choice to set it down, to disentangle myself from that, to just not believe those things, to notice. I will be very honest and vulnerable with you. Last year, my family and I went on a trip and I took a dress with me to get some fun pictures taken out in the wilderness. And it was very fun and great and wonderful and beautiful. And a week ago, we were getting ready to go on a very similar vacation, wedding trip. And I thought, oh, I can wear that dress to the wedding because it will match with everything. And I couldn't zip it, like for many inches. I couldn't zip it in the back. And that was something that I had to struggle with. And it was it was right after we got back from Yoga Fest, and I was over the moon and feeling powerful and strong. And I had just met all of these amazing people and led these two amazing classes that I felt awesome about. And then I couldn't zip that dress, and I thought, okay, because then big
Yes,
set
yes.
shift that happened inside of myself and was feeling down and hard and da da da. And I thought, what changed about my value from yesterday when I was feeling awesome coming off that Yoga Fest high to today when I couldn't get a dress zipped? Nothing changed about who I am.
Yep.
Okay, something changed about the shape and size of me, but this body still led those women. This body still did those classes. This body still met all of those amazing humans and made connections. So
Yep.
why am I all of a sudden now in this space of I'm not worth anything, I don't deserve, well, da, da, da. Just the spiraling that can happen in an instant. And I'm someone who's been working on that mindset for so long. So I know, I understand, I feel those exact same things. And so it is, okay, nope, we got to take it back to basics. I am still worthy of love. I am still deserving of happiness. I am still the exact same woman who I was yesterday when I didn't know that that dress didn't fit me. And so let's focus on those things. Doesn't make it easy,
Yep.
but it's taking it back to the basics, I think.
Awesome. No, that's great. And I also see a lot of people now where it's that comparison, the peer pressure, all of it. So I think the other thing I would like to add is, like they say, comparison is a thief of joy. So obviously, if you feel like somebody else is doing awesome, because I've seen this myself and I've heard it, where we only see one side of it, but when you actually talk to them, there is way more crap on the other side where you have no clue about. So you may just be looking at one thing and saying, wow, like they have something and I don't have it. But guess what? There's a lot of other stuff going on which you don't know. So don't
Absolutely.
just go with these posts and all of this stuff that only shows you one side. But I think, again, I mean, to what you said, I just feel like, yeah, I mean, you can do your thing, do your best, do whatever is given to you as a gift in this lifetime with your body. That's all you can do. I mean, you cannot be like, I cannot be Carolyn. Carolyn cannot be Shalini. I mean, we're just here. I mean, we're all here for different purposes. We're all in different journeys of life. But we're just trying to do the best that we can, right? Given what we have. So I think that's just so important. I mean, I try to say that every time I encounter a woman, whether they're like super early and super young and they're all like frustrated about something, I'm like, there's a long road ahead, right? So I think it's just different perspectives. But yes. So yeah, thanks for sharing. Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Wow, I think we can keep talking. So I know I have a few more questions, but I'm okay. I'm going to say, so what simple movement practices can someone start today even if they're recovering maybe from injury or they're feeling overwhelmed or maybe they haven't exercised in years?
I would say noticing is the first thing. Notice where you feel tension in your body and try to send love to those places. And then start small. Absolutely. If that means parking further away from the grocery store so you get a little bit of a longer walk on purpose. Start small and stay consistent is what I think. Nobody's going to expect you to change your entire life in a matter of a month. That's not realistic, and that's only setting yourself up for failure, I think. Because you're not going to be able to succeed in cutting out every single thing that you know that you're eating that's bad for you, or drinking every single thing and start eating chicken breast and quinoa. That's not real life. And so I would say to start small, stay consistent, and celebrate the things that you can celebrate in all the different aspects of that. But take it back to your breath. Notice, even if you start in breath work, what a beautiful place to start. You can sit down and do that. You can stand and do that. You can do that anywhere in the whole wide world. Hand on your heart, hand on your belly. Inhale for 4, exhale for 5, and start there. And then once you can do that comfortably, then take yourself for a walk. Once you can do that comfortably, and then I would say also find the thing that feels good in your body, that feels like celebration, that feels like joy. If running is not your thing, don't sign up to run a marathon. If Buti is not your thing, go find something that feels like joy in your body.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. And breath is free. So,
Breath is
I
free.
mean, you don't need props, you don't need nothing. It's just you, your
Absolutely.
body, and your mindset. I mean, those are the only things, right? So as long as you have that, I guess you can do it anywhere. So,
Mhm.
yep, yep, no, awesome. All right. So, okay, so I have some bonus rapid fire is how I want to call it. So I'm just gonna go and then you can just go quick
Quick.
responses. All
Okay,
right.
I'll do
Okay.
my best.
Morning routine or evening routine?
Evening.
Favorite way to reset after a stressful day?
Hot shower and read my book.
One wellness myth you would love to debunk.
That everybody is supposed to look the same.
Favorite quote that inspires you.
Something about letting the light in through the cracks. How are you supposed to allow the stardust inside of you to shine if you're too afraid to face the darkness? Something like that.
Love it. What's one thing you do every day that supports your well-being?
I drink a boatload of water every single day.
If you could leave the world with one wellness message, what would it be?
It's never too late to start. Everybody has something hard. Everybody has injury or things or hang-ups to wellness. But it's never too late to start. That's what I would say. And be gentle with yourself, compassion, because there's too much harshness in the world already.
And life is too short.
And life
So,
is too short. Yes. I don't know. I don't like to get yelled at. So I would like someone to love me instead. So that's maybe that.
awesome. Yay! Thank you so much. So before we end here, Carolyn, I would love for you to share with the audience where they can find you or any other information you want to share.
Yes, I would love that as well. I am on Instagram at Brave Beautiful Booty, Buti, because it makes me feel brave and it makes me feel beautiful. And so find me there. Also, Sinceris Soul Retreats. My friends and I put together at this point, women's only retreat. I have another one coming up in 1 month and a couple of days on August 6th through 9th here in Helena, Montana. And it is an all-inclusive where we get to talk all things women and love on each other and show up for each other with movement and joy and all kinds of different things. I've been doing them for a few years, and it is, in my opinion, a way that you can really insert yourself if you are ready for that next step of healing or down your journey of movement. A retreat is a really great way to do it. And I have a few spots left, so I would love to see anybody there or message me with any further questions. I love talking about this stuff because because it's fun and it's part of my passion. And so anytime anybody wants to message me, I'd love to answer.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carolyn. I know you've been like this bomb full of energy. And like I said again, obviously, your class was that. And I mean, that's how we connected. And I just loved that infectious, positive energy that you brought. So thank you. Thank you for being here and sharing your journey with everyone and sharing a bit about your own healing and journey through movement and how it's important for people to just, feel what they need to feel in their own bodies and in their breath. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful.
Thank you.